Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to DIY Motorsport. I am Mike and today we are going to be working on the sleeper build. Before I left town, I started to do a video of the fuel cell that is now complete, but the video never got done. So we're going to kind of combine that into today's video. We've got a time lapse of the full build, and then we'll do a voiceover just kind of explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it, and then we will jump into working on the frame of the sleeper. I want to finish up kind of the back and then get the motor mount that is a bolt-on motor mount built, so that way we can get the motor all secured in, and then we'll just have a few things to finish up before the frame can be fully welded. A little bit of bracing on the front, and we'll have to build a bracket and get a brake disc and then mount the caliper and all that stuff on there, and then it'll be ready to pull apart. But the goal for today is to get the back of it done with the motor mount and everything all secured. Also, the next little while is going to be kind of spotty. I've got a few more work trips coming up that kind of just sprung on me, and so I'm not going to be able to do a video every week. I'm going to get out videos as much as I can, but it's going to be a little bit spotty, and then come about the middle of January, we'll be able to go back to our regular once a week schedule, and we'll try to really step it up. Also, if you guys want to help my channel grow, I'd really appreciate all the support. Any shares that you can give on your own personal media. If you're newer to the channel and you haven't watched all the previous videos, go check them out and leave comments. Let me know what you think. And all the support I've gotten up until this point, I really appreciate it. It's been a fun ride, and hopefully we got a lot left in us. So having said that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so we got a sheet of 1/8 inch aluminum. I went ahead and bought a sheet metal shear from Harbor Freight to cut it. It works okay. It's a little thick for it, but it did end up working pretty good. It makes nice straight cuts. So we're cutting everything out at 18 inches long and 6 inches wide. So we'll get all these pieces cut out. And it wasn't perfectly straight, not as straight as a shear, but there wasn't a gap bigger than about a 32nd of an inch. So we'll go ahead and tape all the pieces together and kind of just get the rough shape of everything. And once we get everything taped together, then we will go ahead and tack weld it. We'll tack weld all 4 sides and the bottom. We'll leave the top off because we will have to put some internal baffles in it. And so we'll end up having 2 baffles at about 1/3 intervals in the tank, and then they just get small slots on each one of them at the bottom, just enough to allow the fuel to easily move through them, but it will help from sloshing inside the tank. We came back, it's a new day. I'm just going around with the die grinder and cleaning off any oxidation on the tank, or on the aluminum, sorry, and then we will wipe everything down with acetone just to get everything clean before we start putting in the baffles and getting those welded up and final welding the rest of the tank. So those are the holes that are going to allow the fuel to pass through. Nothing too big. And then also we'll take a angle grinder and slot those so that they're open all the way to the bottom. Right here we're drilling the hole for the sump. And then that is slotting those out for the fuel to pass through. And again, just going through and cleaning everything up with a Scotch-Brite pad, giving it a brushed look. And here we're wiping it all down with acetone. We got the baffles all welded in. Now we're going to go and start final welding those 5 pieces. And then once we get that all welded together, then we will start looking at welding the half couplings in the top piece and then getting it all welded on as well. I had started this video before I went out of town, and I was trying to get it out before I left, but I wasn't able to get the editing done, so I just decided that I would kind of compress it all and do the voiceover and just add it on to this video. It kind of makes for a long video, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alright, so we drilled the holes in the top, and then we're going to weld on the 2 half couplings. The one will be for the fill, and the other one will be for the vent. I did the half coupling there instead of something threaded for a cap, just simply because I will end up putting some sort of nipple in that, and then we're going to do a hose, that basically a filler neck, to go out to the body of the sleeper. And then the vent cap, or the vent hole, will end up doing probably a compression fitting with a hard line that just comes
comes out and goes down just below the tank. So it'll give it plenty of vent, but in the extremely off chance that it ever tips over or anything, then we're not going to be dumping fuel out of it either. And that's pretty much it. We still got to do the sump, which I'll have to get the parts for. I just didn't have them. And then we gotta weld on some mounts and everything, but yeah, for the most part it turned out pretty good, and it's about 2.8 gallons, so should be more than enough for the go-kart. And now we're just kind of cleaning up all my crash marks and all the cleaning agent on it. So that's it.
Okay guys, so the plan is we've got these axle mounts right here. I want to bring a piece of square tubing on the front side of those and bring them up, tying all that in together and just match the height of this. And we'll do that on both sides, and then we're going to come from about here on an angle to tie into it. I don't want to just come from here on an angle, because then that cuts into how big our disc brake can be. So if we come back here and tie it all in, it'll still be all tied in. We can kind of gusset this area right here, and it should be very strong. And then we're going to come from that, and we're going to go across, tie in the two sides, and then off of that we'll make basically a hoop that goes around the motor, and it's going to bolt in right here and on the other side, and then it'll have our motor mounts coming off of it. So the other side is going to slide in from the top, and this one will kind of slide in on an angle, so we'll be able to lift it and shimmy that out, so that getting the motor out is actually possible. Because if we just build a full solid brace around here and try and bolt it in, then the motor will never come out. There's not enough room for it. So off of the front of that, we will also do supports that come down. We'll probably have pieces of angle iron that they bolt to, or that they weld to, and then the angle iron will bolt into the frame. On the back, we'll probably just do the hoop, tie it in at the back, and then do one side where it comes down and bolts in here, just because we got a lot of stuff going on over here. But I think that if we get all that tied in together, it should be very strong. And then on the front, I haven't 100% figured out how I want to do it, because we just got to make sure that we miss our joints and stuff. But I want to do a support that ties the top frame into basically our wheel mounts for the front. So we'll come somewhere from here, kind of on an angle, and tie it up into this. And I was originally going to come across right here and kind of tie it in there, but basically my legs are going to come down and my feet sit right here, and so I don't want that support. That's just going to be uncomfortable trying to rest on. So we'll probably do it from up here, or we might do, we can go on kind of an angle here. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do that yet, but we'll get a few pieces of metal kind of cut out and place them in, and see where we're going to fit the best. That's not going to interfere with our steering. So this is the fuel cell, all built and in place. We got a few things that we got to do that I don't have the stuff to finish up on it, and that is on the bottom we got to do a sump. So we've got about a 2-inch hole here, and I'm going to weld on a piece of probably 4-inch pipe that sticks down 1 inch, and so that way this will kind of fill up with fuel, and it'll be in there for if we're going on turns and stuff. We're not going to basically have the fuel sloshing and lose it all. And then out the side of that we will do another coupling with a fitting, and that will go to a fuel pump. and we will, I know it's carbureted, but we're going to have to do a fuel pump simply because the fuel cell sits lower than the motor, so gravity feed's not going to work. The tank ended up just under 3 gallons, like 2.8, 2.9 gallons, so that should be plenty for having a good time without having to refuel too often. So let's go ahead and start measuring up and getting some pieces of pipe cut in and get started. Okay guys, so we got the rear brace put in. We're gonna end up tying it all in, like I said, right here, and then we'll cut some angles, clean it all up, box it all in, but I'm not gonna worry about that for now. I'm just gonna keep going on the motor mounts. So, got a piece of angle iron. The angle iron is going to bolt in right here. And then I cut a couple of pieces. I cut this one, because this will fit right in there. That'll all be welded. And we're going to weld this on to the angle iron, and then we'll put it up on here and clamp it into place. And then once we got it right where we want it, then we are going to put this in and just make sure everything's square, and then we will tack it into place. And then off of this one right here, we'll have our tabs that come down and actually mount to the motor. So let's go ahead and get this tack welded onto here, get it clamped up, and get all this fit. And then once we got that, then we'll do similar but a little bit different on the other side. And then once we got the other side done, we'll work on tying in around the back of the motor and getting that piece kind of completed. So yeah, let's get this tacked on. Okay guys, so we did kind of the same thing as the other side. I got some pieces cut out. We've got some angle iron that's cut, that'll be the mount, and a couple of pieces of square tubing that are cut. So the plan is, this one's gonna definitely mount a little different. So it'll come in from the top right here and mount. So we'll clamp that in there. And then this piece is actually going to need to bolt to the side, and it'll be something like this. If I can get the clamp on. So that'll go like that. And then this angle right here will match up with that one. And then our tabs will come off here. So we'll kind of do the same thing. We'll get it tacked into place just right here. And then we can start looking at our piping going across the back of the motor. So let's go ahead and get this all tacked up. Okay guys, so same thing, went through and just cut out all the pieces for the brace going across the back. So we're going to go ahead and tack weld this all into place and kind of make sure that the whole thing goes in and out. And if it does, then we'll probably pull it off and do most of the final welding. And then I figured on the brace over here going down, might tie into the bottom motor mounts, have like a plate that bolts in with a piece of square tubing that comes up. So that'll bolt in right here. And then the more I look at it, we're gonna have to look and try and figure out a way to brace that other side. I don't know, maybe come down straight down here and then do a piece of angle iron on the bottom that it ties into. Just if we only got the one side holding and the other side's not, it's going to give quite a bit of room for flex. So let's go ahead and get this tack welded up, and then we'll kind of fit it in and out and see how it looks. Okay guys, so the piece slides in and out just as I expected, so everything's good there. I'm going to go ahead and tack a few more spots, and then we're just going to final weld this piece, and then we'll put it in and clamp it and start looking at some of the other mounting points going down to the main part of the frame. So let's get going. Alright guys, we are back. It's a new day. Yesterday I ran out of cut-off wheels, so Went to the store this morning, bought some more, and we will keep going. Right now we got basically the top hoop done, and we need to start looking at bracing going down. So let's get started. Okay guys, so we got the rear main hoop pretty well done. We got the one support on the side, which I'm really happy with. The other side, I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I don't have the metal to do it. I'll explain to you kind of what I want to do, but I want to get some like 1/4 inch flat bar to do it, and I don't have any, so we'll have to do that another day. So let me kind of show you what the plan is there. So rather than stick out the back a lot further and do something that comes down here, I kind of want to do some flat bar that comes off here and runs down, probably like 1.25 inch flat bar. It runs down along here and then kind of bends and comes in and ties to the frame. And this will have to be a bolt-on piece in order to be able to get it out. But if you guys remember on one of the earlier episodes when we were talking about the bottom mounts, the bottom mount on the right side only has one tab. I couldn't get another tab without coming out too far on like around the oil filter and not being able to get that off, and then into the chain and all that stuff. So I want to do the flat bar that comes down right here and bolts into place and then adds that other tab. So that way it'll tie everything in together, and all this will bolt together, and once it's all bolted together and tight, it should be very, very, very solid. So that's the plan, and I'm going to wait till I have the 1/4 inch flat bar, and I'm going to do the tabs as well, coming down to grab the motor. So I figure I'll just wait and do that when I have that, because that'll be a little bit stronger anyways. But the rear hoop itself should work out really well. We went ahead and put a support across the left-hand side motor mounts for the bottom, just to tie those two together, and then it gives something a lot sturdier for this to sit on. And then this is going to bolt in here, here, and we might just go ahead and throw one in the middle too. And that's going to stiffen these two up also, because this one we're going to gusset, but this one doesn't have anything underneath it. So tying these two together and then bolting all this across the top, gusseting this one, it's going to be very stiff and very, very strong. So last thing I want to work on in this video is I want to get this part right here tied into this part so that the upper hoop is all kind of one piece. So like I was saying, we're going to go from kind of back here ways in with a piece of square tubing, and then I don't know if we'll do it on this video or not. We'll see how much time we got, but then I want to do a gusset that also kind of caps this off and covers everything going this way. So we'll have like a big nice triangle gusset that makes it look good, stiffens it up a lot, and then we're going to tie those two together with the square tubing. So let's go ahead and get the square tubing cut out. We'll get that tacked into place on both sides, and if we got some time, we'll start measuring up for a gusset and kind of figuring that out. So let's go ahead and cut those two pieces out. Okay guys, so we got the rear braces in place on both sides, and those will help kind of tie everything in together and stiffen it up really good. I know we've got the flat or the square tubing going across that ties it all in, but this kind of covers everything up, makes it look good, and just gives it that much more strength. We've got the rear support all the way around the motor, with the bottom mount here, and like I said, on the next video we'll do the tabs for the motor mounts and that flat bar coming down the other side. I just want to wait till I get some 1/4-inch flat bar, and then we'll do all that. We still need, for the frame, we need to do the supports that somewhere, don't know where yet, are going to come off of the top frame and tie into our wheel mounts for the front, just to stiffen all this up really good. And yeah, we're getting close. We'll finish the fuel cell, just putting the bottom sump on it, and then we got to weld a couple of tabs on it to actually mount it into place. But everything's getting closer and closer every video. So we're going to go ahead and end that video here. Next video we'll probably finish up the frame, all the little stuff that still needs to be done, the front supports, the rear tabs, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's pretty close. And then when we tear it all down to final weld it, we'll put in gussets wherever I feel that they need them. I don't think it's going to need too many, but it'll need a few. And then after that, it will be tear down and final weld. And once the frame's all final welded, then still got electrical work, and we'll do the body mounts to get the body a little bit more secure, and hopefully take it for a test drive. So if you like the video, leave it a thumbs up. Please share this on your own social media, help my channel grow. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't yet, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.